Hello, it's Stella here with Earth Lovers Oracle. Um, I'm doing a reading this morning for the full moon, which falls on the 1st of October, and it's at 8 degrees of Aries and Libra. Full moon, as I'm sure you know, is so the sun is in Libra at the moment and the moon is in Aries, a full moon in Aries, and they're opposite each other, which makes it full. And obviously on the new moon, the sun and the moon are like joined together. So at this point, with the full moon, there is this idea of polarity and obviously a lot of energy. The first card that I have is the it's sort of like the old name for this moon. It's called a harvest moon. It's a moon of fruition, and this goes way back to like Wiccan times or Druid times or even beyond, where they were simplistically describing the qualities of what was around. And obviously the harvest time, we plant things in the spring, we wait for the season to pass and for the sun to ripen everything and it to grow, so then we are able to pick them. So it's this whole concept of things coming to fruition, but that this can also be for our personal goals, that we've worked on something for quite some time, where we can actually see it really coming into something. That is a beautiful feeling, that it's it's come to fruition, it's blossomed. So on the full moon, it's really about surrender, because the moon, from the 28-day cycle of being a tiny little slither, it's gone complete circle and the moon is full again. And it's almost like a cycle has ended or reached its full potential. So all one can do is surrender to that outcome, and then you would reevaluate what you feel is worth continuing with, building on, or maybe starting again in a couple of weeks, when that is the new moon, when one makes affirmations. But sort of the time, if we're going with the cycles of the moon waxed, so it went up, and when it becomes full, from that point by degrees it wanes again, so the energy is going down. So it's better to do something when it's a seed and when it's going up. It's rather like when you plant things in nature, doing them at the right time ensures better results. So the moon is in Aries on the 1st. Aries is a fire sign, and it is a cardinal sign, which means it's a sign of action. And there's been quite a lot of planetary activity in the sign of Capricorn. There are 3 planets: Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, and which are pretty heavy duty, and they've been moving along. And physically, it's if we work on the premise as above, so below, actually, things are happening. A lot's been shifted on with this, but there has been a lot of kind of push me pull you going on. It's been quite hard. So Aries ruler is Mars, and Mars at the moment is going backwards in the skies. And so those difficult planets in Capricorn are being revisited by Mars, which is making, inflaming things a little bit more. Because Mars energy is about drive, it's very masculine, it goes like a straight arrow. And often the like a typical Aries person may not think so much before they act, because it's that, at times Mars energy is life-saving. It's like if you're in a battle, stopping someone from being attacked, or yourself, or preventing someone having an accident or being in danger, you absolutely do need speed, but that isn't the answer for every single thing. So in this climate, I'm sort of saying that, having this touch fire knee-jerk reaction isn't the best, and there is a lot of that around at the moment. So we have to it's like we have to kind of watch how we're responding, but not suppressing it, obviously, to such a degree, because we, as human beings, anger is a natural thing, but it's how we deliver it and how destructive it possibly will be. So Aries is symbolized by the ram, and the ram, I think of those horns like ramming into things, being fairly one track minded, not so much taking everything into consideration. A lot of signs are taking more things into consideration, and especially Libra, the sign where the sun is at the moment, that takes the other person or other people's play in a situation into consideration. So, Aries energy is quite primal, but it absolutely has its place. So I've already talked about the Mars energy. Aries is a fire sign, and this is going to be, the moon is going to be very hot. It's like a moon of extremes because of all this kind of fraught planetary action that's occurring at the moment, and you might notice it in your life on a low level, but collectively we've seen it played out in quite big ways, with things like riots and protests and things like that. And I have said previously, and a lot of people that are interested in oracle cards and readings will know that the earth is undergoing a cleanse, like, because we're trying to it's not that people sat down and decided this is what's going to happen, but sort of in the evolution, like, we go through different times, that the idea is that we are becoming lighter, not so distracted by anger, and also the planet is cleansing itself of things that are destructive and that are dark and that are only serving a few people, where a lot of other people would suffer in its way. So it's quite a big thing. It's actually a massive thing that has been coming up subtly and powerfully, but it's been coming up more to the fore this year. Let's say the action, but the awareness for a lot of people won't be until the end of the year, or maybe sort of into next year. But it's long been felt that we were going through this planetary change, and it's not so much just about climate change or becoming more green. It's that our energy becomes lighter, so that we can live in a more harmonious situation, within ourselves and within larger groups, which I think everybody secretly craves. So we have the card of self-reflection here, and it is the ability to look at oneself calmly, and I would say kindly, because it's no good sort of doing a hatchet job on oneself, but you could think about, because there is quite a lot of anger going around at the moment on the planet, and maybe you might have even noticed in your day-to-day life that you may not even be particularly somebody that gets triggered that easily, but you are triggered. You might be triggered more easily. So it's just saying, look at how you deal with anger. And obviously anger is an energy. It can be life-saving, and certainly we don't want to bottle things up and then become unwell because of it and get stress, headaches and sore throats, and maybe even more deeper forms of imbalance in our bodies. So it's a good time to take extra care of our bodies, so that we are strengthened and not feeling battle worn, but also to look at how we are triggered, and if you can, you think, actually every time that person says that or does that, there I go again, but you're actually draining your own energy. So if you could think about that, maybe think, well, I'm going to just step aside from that and not react in the same way. And likewise, if somebody suddenly comes towards one left of field, screaming or attacking one, you can feel pretty threatened. But actually going back at them in the same way, although you might think they deserve it, it's just going to ignite the fire. And so it is really a good strategy to, take a step back and respond to that person in a calm way. And eventually the person should, it's like they follow your steps, they follow you. If you lead by example, they can follow you. And obviously one can be in a situation when somebody is totally out of control and you feel you have to remove yourself from the situation. But it's very good because we all have the capacity of anger, as well as we have the capacity for happiness and joy and sadness. It's the human condition. But collectively, it seems that we are being tested about our anger, and that this cleansing is coming to the surface, and realizing that if we repeat the same thing again and again, it's just going to be very draining and not particularly get us anywhere. Excessive shouting, ranting, getting carried away on social media. So it's just the calm. Get into the calm. The lovely person that you are deep down, no matter how rattled you might have become. It's realizing that actually we are all calm, gentle beings when it gets right down to it, if we are not provoked. But it's this whole issue. It's just very interesting to look at this time, and remember that also to give oneself self-care and nurturing. Otherwise one can end up feeling frazzled. So this card makes me smile a bit, and it's balance. And we have this little lady, and it looks like she has a cloud over her head, but she is trying to keep things into balance. And Libra is about, it's not that they've got everything balanced the whole time, but they have the ability to weigh things up. And really, as a follow on from the last card, in situations, if you can take yourself out of the the primal reactive mode and try and balance things up so that you're communicating, if you badly need to, but that things remain calm so that you are not so energetically spent. So this is a lovely card and a reminder to all of us that we, our happy natural self is in balance. It isn't all fraught and het up. So it's trying to return to that state. And lastly, we have the card of peace, and we have a picture of a lovely girl, and it looks like she's meditating. She could be, in a yoga pose, but that she's wearing white, which is purity, and around her she has a ring of light, but probably it's like a protective bubble for her energy, where she has a notion of what's going on in the world, and probably she has a partner or family, so she is part of the human race, not sort of somewhere like in a temple, but so she is beset by normal problems, but by keeping calm, it's almost like she forms a protection around herself. So that is a lovely kind of reminder that, actually, I think the human condition, actually, humans do want peace. I don't think they particularly do want war. And if you do meditate, or if you do yoga, or if there's something that you can do that will drain any pent-up energy, like sport is often very good, dancing, and then coming back into that calm, maybe walking in nature, which I'm always recommending, because it is very calming, just being out there. We part of us, it's almost like our primitive requirements are that we have peace, and we have quiet at times, and we're not overstimulated, and that we are out in nature, taking in oxygen, being in the presence of the trees, which of course give out oxygen, and visually they're very beautiful. and plants, and then walking, hearing birds singing. That's all very, very calming. So these are, in spite of the climate, these are actually very useful tools that can help to, they're not difficult things to achieve. They're things that one can, schedule in to do. And if you do, it will make this period, you know, much better, not so fraught. And actually, the yes, we have the moon full moon in Aries at the moment, but planet wise, because Mars is going retrograde, which is going backwards, and a lot of other planetary activity in the sky, really until Christmas potentially we could have this fraught situation. So if within ourselves we are calmer and happier and more balanced, that actually has an effect on the collective. And you might think, well, how will I have an effect on thousands of people gathering together, or even 100 people together? But the more of us that can do that, we're not adding to the fire, and we're keeping ourselves calm. We are actually helping to ease the situation collectively, which is much better for the planet, and also keeping ourselves happy, because I think everyone, most people, they do want to be happy, they do want peace, they don't want fighting, but it's just trying to return to that state as much as possible. Well, I hope you have an enjoyable full moon, and many blessings to you all, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.